Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to the #1 Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis, as well as a rally to 150,000 here coming soon. Also, breaking news just in. President Trump says he selected a new Federal Reserve chairman and that he will be announced very soon. Max Kaiser responded, "Can't wait. Bitcoin 2.2 million in play. See ya on the other side." That's right. We'll also be discussing breaking news. Max Kaiser dropped the bombshell and announced launching his own political party called Orange Pill Party and running for president in 2028. We'll be discussing this, as well as Trump touts Memecoin, a sentiment gauge, as 220 million unlock nears. We'll also be discussing full porting Bitcoin could be Musk's Trump card in the feud, according to Bitcoiners such as Samson Mau, who wrote, "Elon Musk, it's time to go all in on Bitcoin. Tesla can take Bitcoin for payments again and implement a Bitcoin treasury strategy. SpaceX can give a discount on launches paid in Bitcoin, force a hard money standard on the money printers." We'll also be discussing $31 million Bitcoin donation, a Ross, traced to Alphab Bay and not Silk Road. Also breaking news, Trump media to raise $12 billion via securities offering, most probably, I would assume, to purchase some Bitcoin there. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin will hit $1 million during the Trump presidency, according to Arthur Hayes. Just blaze. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe, then ring the bell, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Today is pod episode 2015. I'm your host, JV. Happy Sat Stack and Saturday. Bitcoin market back in the green. We did recapture 106,000 a little bit ago. You should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. Shows we're currently sitting at 106.3, up 1.7% on the day. Ether, BNB, XRP, virtually everything pumping it in the green, baby. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at 3.3 trillion, even McGeven. And the all-time high is 3.75, so we're getting close to, eclipsing that. And the Bitcoin market cap today, 2.1 trillion. And we have 85 billion of volume past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the rise, 63.8%, with the Ether dominance at 9.2%. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got AB up 22%, followed by Athena up 10%, followed by Injective up almost 8%. But which alts, if any, are you bullish on for the bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the day. Safe to say, almost everything is in the green. We love days like today. Ironic, it's a Sat Stack and Saturday and everything's in the green. And checking out on the weekly, I dare say 65-35 red over green, and zooming out on the monthly, maybe 70-30 red over green, and checking out for the yearly, similar, I'd say maybe 80-20 wrecked over green. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, today we're 52 neutral. Yesterday 45 fear, which is the lowest it's been in a hot minute. Last week of 50, and last month of 65 in greed. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. Just the other day, we surpassed the 900,000 block milestone. Today, to be precise, we're at 900,199. We have 149,801 blocks into the halving of 2028. And as of today, June 7th, 2025, you can trade one fiat monopoly dollar for 944 sats. So you know what to do. You pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Cop yourself an exclusive CNA Biddy cap, just like this. But anyways, let's now transition into our TA, aka astrology for the baddies. Headline reads, is the Bitcoin price rally to 150,000 really possible this year? Yeah, I dare say if I look at my magic 8-ball, I'd say that's extremely bearish. But you guys let me know your thoughts and we'll break this baby down. Bitcoin's painting what appears to be an inverse cup and handle pattern, with the neckline near 100,800 acting as current support. We did maintain, we virtually just tested that the other day when we were at like 100,500-ish, but good to see it held up. Based on the inverse cup and handle pattern, a breakout below 100,800 will increase Bitcoin's likelihood of dropping back down to 91. Now, I don't think that's the most probable scenario, but you guys let me know your thoughts, as there is a 200-day exponential moving average there. And Bitcoin's RSI has declined in tandem with the price, signaling stronger trader conviction behind the ongoing sell-off. As of June 7th, today, the RSI, which is the relative strength index, was reading a 52, reflecting weakening upside momentum, and a break below 50 would intensify this downwards pressure. To regain the control, the bulls must reclaim the Bitcoin 20-day exponential moving average, which is the purple wave resistant, at 105, which we're currently above, so it's a good sign. A drop towards 91 could effectively lower the Bitcoin potential to hit 150,000. But again, that's the bear scenario, and we represent the bulls, so take that, suckers. A bearish divergence has formed between the price and RSI, mirroring the 2021 cycle top when RSI trended lower despite the higher price highs. That divergence preceded a 61% correction towards its 200-week EMA, which is the blue wave outline here in this weekly chart. A similar structure is now visible, with a divergence forming just below the 112 high, the current all-time high achieved on the 22nd, and projected pullback target near the 200-week EMA at 64. Imagine a 52% decline from here. Again, I'm highly skeptical. I think the next leg up of the bull is here, but you guys got to let me know your thoughts. This historical setup cast doubt on Bitcoin reaching the widely discussed 150 target before the end of this year, especially if the divergence comes with a broader market top similar to the past cycle. Veteran Peter Brandt adds further weight to the outlook. He says in his May 2025 analysis, he identified a rising wedge pattern and warned that Bitcoin must reclaim its parabolic trend line to stay on track for 125 to 150. Now, I disagree with Peter Brandt. Oftentimes, not my favorite analyst, but then again, it's one perspective. Let me know if you agree or disagree. He notes that failure to do so could mark the end of the current bullish cycle, potentially triggering a typical 50 to 60% drawdown. Now, I do believe we will see a 50 to 60% drawdown, but after hitting the cycle peak of above 200,000, and that's my bear scenario. My base case for the broskies, as you guys know already, is 420 bull scenario. 1.1 million. But regardless how high we climb the cycle, I do see a very foreseeable drastic drawdown. But I don't think it'll be 90% like we've seen in previous cycles, considering we now have the institutional adoption and things have changed drastically since then, when the previous cycles were always driven by the retail. This particular cycle is definitely driven by the institutions and now governments and stuff like that. But despite growing technical warnings, some analysts remain confident in Bitcoin's path to 150. We have another analyst here citing potential bull flag structure, predicting Bitcoin price boom to 150. I personally feel we'll be here before you know it, potentially even this summer. I mean, we could even go as high as 200,000 over the summer, but you guys let me know your thoughts. Also, breaking news before I pull up the charts. This was just shared. President Trump says he selected a new Federal Reserve chairman and that it will be announced very soon. Will it be Nipinator? Get that printer going. And Max responded, I can't wait. Bitcoin 2.2 million in play. See ya on the other side. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. Burn. Fiat. Burn. That's all I'm saying. Print more. And he also dropped the bombshell yesterday. I am launching the Orange Pill Party and running for president in 2028. Let's go. So I wrote Max Kaiser for president 2028. And I may be the first person to have officially announced it after Max himself, in which he reposted it. He also polled his audience, who will you vote for? And make sure you're following Orange Pill Party, which is his one of his secondary, obviously, accounts on X. He created it back in 2022, just FYI. So maybe he's been planning it. But you can see 71% of his audience out of the 1,600 votes they voted or will vote for Max's Orange Party. I mean, absolutely, no question. Or Elon's America Party. I know one thing for fact. I would personally never vote for Elon under any circumstance, especially after the stunt he just pulled publicly, which a lot of people believe was scripted, including myself. I say if I was a betting man, 80% chance all that shit was purely scripted. But either way, I don't trust them. I'm voting Max's OPP. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Stacking BTC. I put Elon pushes Satanism. And maybe I'll give you a little Elon rant on what kind of Satanism he's been pushing and why I don't trust the man. But anyways, that's a topic for another conversation. Looking at some of the live charts, we'll do a little live chart action. Jackson satisfaction. Bo Jackson for the broskies. And yeah, we'll check out some of the live charts. But anyways, this is a 1 hour chart. You can see yesterday we had a nice staircase to heaven climb, and we have been slowly but surely gaining momentum in the price action. Currently 106 at the time of the live stream via Coinbase, via TradingView, via the chart we're analyzing. Checking out the 4 hour. As you can see, pretty little bitty back on the climb. Right shoulder, no particular bull scenario target. But zooming out, we'll check out the daily. The daily chart does show after we bottomed out, we had a nice, recovery from the 101 range, and we're continuing that on the daily. Another green candle thus far. No particular bull targets on the daily, but we'll check out the weekly. I'm pretty confident we're still going to have the 124 sexy cup and handle target because that's been there for like over 6 months. It still is there. I personally feel that's going to be the next leg up once we can recapture price discovery, which is currently 112 achieved on May 22nd. We also have the rising wedgie, the only wedgie I approve of. And zooming out from the weekly, we'll take a look at the monthly, and tomorrow we'll get a new weekly close. It seems it's probably going to be in the red. We did have 7 green consecutive weekly candle closes, and then we had a red last week, and it looks like this week we'll have another red. Checking out the monthly, for the month of April and May, we had green closes, and thus far for the month of June, we're in the green, but barely, and it's still so early. But anyways, you guys let me know where you feel the pretty little bitty likely to take us next, and I'll read your comments out loud and let me know regarding if you're down with OPP. And I'm not talking about Naughty by Nature's OPP, which is other people's, you know what I mean? But anyways, next story, yo. We have a lot to share. Welcome everyone. Happy Sat Stack and Saturday. The next headline reads, Trump touts Memecoin as sentiment gauge as 520 unlock-a-nears. And how many of you have any sort of exposure to the Trump meme coin? Do let me know. U.S. President Trump signals support for the idea that his official meme coin reflects public sentiment about his leadership. Trump shared a Newsmax article discussing how his official crypto token serves as a gauge of political momentum, echoing views shared by some crypto industry figures. And while the president may recognize his meme coin as a success barometer, the token's market performance paints a more sobering picture if it is to be used as a sentiment gauge. Precisely. Not a good look, Trump, is all I'm saying. At the time, his official Trump meme coin traded at $10, down 85% since the $73 all-time high back in January. A scheduled 520 million token unlock in July could apply to further downwards pressure. Now, is it safe to assume, is that going to the insiders? I mean, typically with these meme coins, the insiders are the ones that get rich. Typically, retail get wrecked. But anyways, according to the on-chain data compiled by Tokenomist, only 26% of the Trump token total supply has been unlocked, 73%, which is about 735 million tokens yet to enter circulation. What do you think is going to happen, broskies, when all this is unlocked and then it floods the market? It's going to ultimately make the price be watered down, no different than fiat when they print the dirty little fiat, tulip bulb mania. Now, on July 18th, Trump tokens amounted to 25% of the current circulating supply to hit the market. Tokenomist data shows 50 million tokens valued at 520 million will be unlocked. A large number of tokens hitting the market has the potential to put further downside pressure on the token price, especially if the demand doesn't scale in parallel. What is it going to do? Offer another lunch? Whoever is the top meme coin holder, he's going to have to do another promo. It led up to the unlock on June 7th. Trump's son, Eric, attempted to bolster market confidence using the Trump-backed crypto company World Liberty Financial, announcing the WLF plans to acquire a substantial amount of the meme coin tokens. The token price didn't react significantly, leading commentators to say it was not a good sign, hence a bad omen. Ultimately, whether investors absorb the upcoming unlock or react with a market sell-off could indicate a broader political enthusiasm towards Trump's leadership. Personally, I don't think it means a whole lot. It's a fucking meme coin at the end of the day. Using meme coins as a tool to measure public sentiment isn't new. Anna Mocha, Brand's co-founder, shared that Trump tokens' rapid rise was due to hype and novelty. Well, I do agree with that. It's definitely all hype. However, the executive said in the long run, it could reflect broader attitudes towards Trump's presidency. You guys let me know your thoughts. I'm curious if any of you did invest in the token. How many of you got in and out? Did you flip it for a gain or a loss? Or are you still holding on to any of the tokens? Or did you stay far away from it? And also, what about Melania coin? I think it was like 24 hours after the launch of the Trump meme coin, Melania launched her own coin, which led us to believe, who's next? Time traveler Baron? You know what I mean? Speaking of Elon, full porting Bitcoin could be Musk's Trump card in the feud. According to Bitcoin purists and early OG Jan 3 founder Samson Mau. That's right. So I want to break this one down for you. Let's start with Samson's tweet. And again, shout out Samson for reposting my content today. He wrote, Elon, it's time to go all in on Bitcoin. Tesla can take Bitcoin for payments again and implement a Bitcoin treasury strategy. SpaceX can give a discount on launches paid in Bitcoin so they can pretend to shoot those rockets into space. And force a hard money standard on the money printers. And that's coming again directly from Samson Mau. And now let's dive a little deeper. Mau urged Musk to accept Bitcoin payments for Tesla. I agree there because he once was accepting it back in 2021, and then he pulled the plug and was spreading the FUD that Bitcoin mining is like bad for the environment. And then he's like, when we can prove it's not bad and yada, 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 we'll accept the payments. Well, guess what? We've already proven that it's not harming the environment. More than 50%, from my understanding, is clean energy. And so he also wrote here, this is not financial advice, this is freedom advice. Do you think Elon would take that advice? I guess that's the million-dollar question. Let me know. Mau also proposed Musk's SpaceX offer launch discounts to customers who pay in Bitcoin. That's interesting. Force a hard money standard on the money printers. It comes after Mau recently shared it's been 3 months since Trump signed the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Executive Order, but he has yet to buy any additional Bitcoin. He said the U.S. has to start acquiring Bitcoin this year to avoid being front-run by other nations. I think he makes a great point there because timing is of the essence. What if Russia or China, you know what I mean, takes the pole position, starts stacking like madmen and grabbing hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, and then the United States will be forever left behind. And he also wrote, at least do it before they freeze your fiat assets. Now, in my humble opinion, Elon represents the lizard folk and he follows all the agenda. I don't think he's off script here. I think this is what he was told to say. So I highly doubt that they would freeze his assets because I don't believe he's off course. I believe he's doing exactly what his handlers are telling him to do. So I don't think they're going to pull a Andrew Tate on him and freeze his assets or a Kanye West. You know what I mean? Because he's still a part of the corruption. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say, he's still fucking compromised. So I highly doubt that. However, if it was legit, then yeah, absolutely. He would know the government is going to freeze his assets because all of his fortune comes from government subsidies. But they can freeze that at any moment, the moment he steps out of line. So that's what people don't understand. His fortune doesn't give him freedom, it gives him control. Let that one sink in. Some Bitcoiners speculate that if Musk backed Bitcoin, he wouldn't hold back. Llama co-founder said if Musk were to go Bitcoin maxi, all bets are off in so many ways. He doesn't do anything small. And well, there's truth to that. He doesn't do anything small. And it was Max Kaiser, the first one to say, Elon is on the brink of going full Bitcoin maximalist. And I actually covered that as my featured headline, I think 2 episodes ago. So shout out to the high priest. He's built or buy his way to the biggest Bitcoin treasury. He'd accept Bitcoin in all his businesses. He'd be joining the Bitcoin presidents on the world stage, promoting it as the only path to freedom. But clearly, why doesn't he? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. The feud started after Musk led office as an advisor to Trump and then called his tax bill disgusting abomination on June 3rd. It escalated June 5th after both traded public insults on X. Musk said Trump's plans for sweeping global tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of the year. Meanwhile, Trump said in a post on Truth's social platform that terminating Musk's government subsidies and contracts would save, that's a fucking fact. Kudos to Trump for even saying that. It would save us billions because why do you think the government pays him billions to send these rockets to pretend they're going into space? It's just a big waste of money. So Elon is a part of the waste. ironic as that sounds. Musk has frequently mentioned crypto over the years. Most recently, June 2nd, he said on X, rolling out a new messaging feature with Bitcoin-style encryption, which means he's not embracing Bitcoin, and I'd expect nothing less because here's what I discovered, bigger picture, and fuck it, I'll just speak my mind here. Satanists don't like Bitcoin. People who believe in God and Jesus tend to love Bitcoin. So if you're pushing the satanic agenda, I do not expect you to embrace Bitcoin on the world stage. Elon falls in that category. You guys are entitled to your own opinions. I'm going to read them out loud. And again, opinions are like assholes. We all have them. But at the end of the day, I firmly do believe that. There is a reason he stopped accepting Bitcoin payments and was spreading the same FUD that Ripple was spreading about Bitcoin. There's reasons he hasn't converted his fiat monopoly money into Bitcoin. Is because he's a Satanist and his handlers and the people that control him are Satanists, and he doesn't have the free will to do anything he wants. You guys think, oh, he has all the money in the world. He can do anything he wants. Not how it works. Sorry, that's not how it works. People like Max Kaiser can do anything he wants because he has true freedom. He has Bitcoin money, which is the ultimate fuck you money. Fiat money, when the government controls it, equals you're enslaved. So in my opinion, Elon is just another peon, enslaved puppet. And you're like, oh my God, JV, how dare you say that about our savior, Elon Muskrat? But that's how I genuinely feel. I mean, so it is what it is. Let's continue. Next story of the day. Where did we leave off? We did Trump and Musk. Next is the 31 million donation regarding Ross that he recently received and the origins. And then we'll discuss the latest from Arthur Hayes Just Blaze, projecting Bitcoin hit a million during Trump's presidency. And then we'll do some live Q&A. We're up to 900 people on the live stream. So yeah, headline here, 31 million Bitcoin donation to Ross traced to Alphab Bay and not the Silk Road. That's right, according to the intel shared by trading firm Chainalysis with Wired. The 300 Bitcoin donation did not originate from the Silk Road at all. Instead, the funds appear to trace back to Alphab Bay, a now defunct darknet market that operated between 2014 and 2017, well after the Silk Road takedown. Alphab Bay was reportedly 10 times the size of Silk Road at its peak, was known for trafficking in drugs, malware, and illegal services. Now, Phil Larratt, Chainalysis Director of Investigations and the former UK law enforcement official, said there are reasonable grounds to suspect the Bitcoin came from someone involved with Alphab Bay, likely a former vendor, given the size of the amount. Prominent blockchain investigator Zach XBT, who had earlier examined the donation, also concluded the funds did not come from Silk Road. Now, despite the sender's use of Bitcoin mixing services, Zach XBT traced the Bitcoin to a wallet previously flagged by Chainalysis as connected to illicit activity. He shared his conclusion with Wired, wherein he noted that the donation itself may be genuine, but not legitimate funds. Additional clues suggest the person behind the transfer may have been actively trying to avoid detection. Zach XBT discovered the same individual had previously cashed out other crypto through centralized exchanges in small spread out amounts. That's crazy that even with using the mixers, they can still trace back the origins of like virtually everything when it comes to crypto, hence the blockchain. This behavior is consistent with the effort to evade the asset freezing or the scrutiny and doing the Alphab Bay crackdown. Chainalysis reported decline to share specifics on how exactly it linked to the donation, but it is important to note that the firm is widely known for its expertise in mapping illicit activity across blockchain networks and played a crucial role in dismantling the now defunct marketplace during the multinational law enforcement initiative known as Operation Bayonet, involving the FBI, the DEA, and Europol. Wow. The crackdown later led to the conviction of Brian Hunter Harrell and Alphab Bay. I never even fucking heard of Alphab Bay. Let me know if you guys have. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison, the founder. And as for Albrick, he has not publicly addressed the donation, nor do I think he should, nor do I think he has to. So there you have it. Yo, who do you think that is? Do you think it's just like someone that made a lot of money thanks to Ross early on and just wanted to show his appreciation? Let me know your thoughts. There was a lot of speculation in the beginning that he must have sent it to himself. I don't think that. I don't think it would have made any logical sense to send it to yourself, because if you already had it in another wallet, just leave it in that other wallet. Why create the attention of, wow, somebody just sent me $30 million. You know what I mean? Let's get to the next story. We got 2 stories left because I don't think we did the donation, but I forgot one more story I kind of squeezed in here. Trump media to raise $12 billion via security offering to purchase more Bitcoin. The terms of the offering will be provided in prospective supplements filed with Time. For now, TMTG has clarified it intends to sell 84 million shares of the common stock at 0.0001 cent each. TMTG will sell 55 million shares to institutional investors. The company will also offer 28 million shares issuable upon conversion of a 0% convertible senior note due in 2028 for the amount of $1 billion. The company noted it has flexibility to sell the shares at varying prices through different channels, underwriters, dealers, and agents. Quoting them here, we provide more information about how we and the selling security holders may sell the securities in the section entitled Plan of Distribution. We will receive the proceeds from the issuance and sale of our common stock, preferred stock, debt, securities, warrants, rights, units. We will not receive any proceeds from the sale of shares by selling security holder pursuant to the prospectus, the firm stated. And earlier in the week, TMTG reportedly disclosed it was raising $3 billion. This is the company that owns Truth Social, like all the Trump stuff, to buy Bitcoin. And about 24 hours later, news emerged the company raised approximately $2.5 billion, which we covered here on the stream, to implement the Bitcoin acquisition plan. So we know they're at least buying $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and potentially up to $12 billion, considering that's what they're now raising. TMTG holds Bitcoin on the balance sheet, while digital asset platform Crypto.com is being the custodian for them. TMTG's latest Bitcoin purchase and the intensifying wave of the Bitcoin adoption in the corporate sector are fueling speculation that the $12 billion raise will be targeted at more Bitcoin acquisitions. I think that's a great guess. I don't know if all of it will go into Bitcoin, but if I was to speculate, I mean, there is no second best. That's all I'm saying. All right, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin will hit 1 million per coin during the Trump presidency, which means by the year 2028, which ironic enough is the time of the next halving and the next presidential election. So let's break this down. And this is as per Arthur Hayes. Just blaze. And here are some of the key points. Bitcoin could hit an astronomical 1 million price target, which is virtually a 10x from here by the time of the next halving. According to Arthur Hayes, just blaze. And if you're not familiar with him, he is a billionaire, very smart man, early Bitcoin adopter, and the co-founder of the BitMEX exchange, which goes back a long time ago. It used to be like the number one exchange for doing what is it called, trading with leverage and like all that kind of stuff. And then FTX kind of took over. I think it was like a government coup working alongside compromised insiders like Gary Gensler. That's a story for another day. But anyways, while pro-Bitcoin initiatives from the government get all the attention, crypto investors should also keep their eye on the factors impacting the U.S. economy. Fiscal monetary policies embraced by the U.S. government could lead to money flowing into Bitcoin at a rapid pace over the next 3 years. And speaking of money rapidly flowing into Bitcoin, I also want to share this tweet from Max Kaiser a little earlier off the back of this news from Trump. It looks like he was on his private jet. President Trump says he selected a new Federal Reserve chair and that he'll be announced very soon. Printer coming, Bitcoin, rocket ship to the moon. Max says, can't wait. Bitcoin 2.2 million in play. See you on the other side. That's what I'm saying. 2.2 million in play, bitty broskies. Now that Bitcoin has hit the 100,000 level, the future looks bright indeed. Some forecasts them pretty little bitty hitting a milli potentially this year. It could happen. I'm just saying. But it could take a full decade for Bitcoin to hit a million mark. I disagree with that. I'm highly skeptical it would take that long. However, Arthur Hayes says it will happen by the year 2028 or as early as 2028. And I can totally see that coming into fruition. There's a number of different ways to come up with a price of 1 million per bitty. One popular approach is to look at the current Bitcoin adoption rates around the world, then extrapolate how fast Bitcoin can grow over the next decade. The more use cases you can find for the bitty and the faster the Bitcoin grows, the higher the price target becomes. In fact, Kathy Wood of ARK Invest came up with her original 1 million price target for Bitcoin. And since then, she's raised the goalposts, actually many times, because we have covered it here on the pod. Or you can choose to compare Bitcoin to a specific asset and then assume the valuation gap between Bitcoin and that asset will narrow over time, for example, against gold. Right now, the asset that everyone is using for comparison is physical gold, which has an approximate market valuation of $20 trillion. So Bitcoin grows from a $2 trillion asset and as of today is 2.1 trillion into a 20 trillion asset, which is a mere 10x. That would imply a 10x return on investment. So given a Bitcoin current price of 100 G's, that leads to the future price target of 1 million and makes it sound so very realistic. I genuinely feel we can 10x. If not this cycle, it will absolutely happen next cycle. And again, the next halving cycle begins in 2028. Ironic, it's exactly when Arthur Hayes foresees it occurring. But there's a third wave to value Bitcoin, and it focuses on how specific government fiscal and monetary policies can impact the crypto market. This is the approach that Hayes uses in his Bitcoin 2025 presentation. He just spoke at the Bitcoin Vegas conference and gave his speech on why he believes, Bitcoin's going to hit a milli. He thinks the U.S. government could inject nearly $9 trillion in liquidity into the economy over the next 3 years. Pretty little money printer go. Brr. Now that's significantly more than the $4 trillion that the U.S. government injected into the economy during the COVID pandemic of 2020. When that happened into 2020, 2021, the Bitty price soared from 7,000 to 70,000 for a 10x return. In fact, we went from a bottom of 3,500, and I remember it like yesterday, in March of 2020. Due to COVID, we crashed from like 7,000 back down to 3,500. Then 1 year later, in March of 2021, Bitcoin was above 60,000. So I don't know the exact number there, but it was a substantial run up in just a 12-month period. So if history were to rhyme, just that same run up, we'd surpass 1 million per coin. So it can happen a lot easier than you guys think. So why would the U.S. government want to inject $9 trillion into the economy? Well, it sounds like they have to. It comes down to the difficult macroeconomic problems facing the U.S. government. There's massive trade deficits with trading partners around the world. There's also massive fiscal deficits with no end in sight to government spending. And there are warning signs of recession and inflation everywhere. In many ways, 2025 has been a crash course study on how hard it is to solve these problems. For example, if you try to bring down government spending with the Doge cost-cutting programs, you risk a public backlash. And if you try bringing down the trade deficits using tariffs, you face a global investor backlash. Well, guess what? You can't tariff the pretty little bitty. Now, in the scenario envisioned by Hayes, the U.S. government is showing and going to find it harder and harder to find buyers for the debt. It can't offer higher interest rates on that debt to attract buyers because of the cost of the debt service is already staggeringly high. So we'll have to resort to more and more creative measures. And one of these, says Hayes, is a potential change to how the bank can buy U.S. government debt. This could lead to a bank bond buying bonanza, or as Max says, the fiat bond apocalypse. It's amongst us. At the same time, if tariffs lead to an economic pain for everyday Americans, then the U.S. government will be forced to do anything to reduce some of the pain. Once midterm elections roll around in 2026, the pressure will intensify, and as longtime Bitcoin investors will tell you, this always leads to the same solution: pretty little money printer go burr. But what happens between now and the next halving? Within the next 3 years, many people assume the path to 1 million for the Bitty is paved with the pro-crypto policies being rolled out by the Trump admin. They assume that the creation of the strategic Bitty reserve will lead to significant government buying of Bitcoin, thereby pushing up the price over time. They assume that the new crypto legislation, combined with the hands-off approach to the crypto regulation, will be enough to juice the price of the Bitty. However, if Bitcoin is going to hit 1 million during the Trump presidency, it'll likely require quite a bit of economic pain amongst the way. It might even require global investors to lose faith in the U.S. economy. I dare say they already have, especially in the U.S. dollar. And all of this very bad for America, of course. But at the same time, it could be very good for the Bitty if it leads to new investor inflows into crypto. And so be careful what you wish for. And there you have it, yo. Let me know your thoughts. Will 1 million Bitty price by the year 2028, as per Arthur Hayes, just blaze? Quantitative easing will shoot the Bitcoin to the moon. I must say I love Bitcoin, but everything's going. I just can't see how the Bitcoin goes 500,000 this year, even a million. But it's supposed to get to 1 million by 2028 if it has a big move at some point. I got a hunch in the next Black Rock fork, they will add extra sats, 1 billion sats instead of 100 million, 10x in their own stack, sort of printing money out of thin air. Keynesian economics has messed up the entire world. We need to get back to the scarce asset and the real value. JV, nobody wants long-term bonds right now. They have the auction and nobody showed up precisely. Greg says that would require the miner code change for the divisibility of the biddy. Just add the 2 decimal points. Also requires that all the miner nodes keep the miners away from Peter Schiff is all I'm saying. In full faith, agree with the code change. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue with the uncensored version of the pod. We're going to end the YouTube transmission. So head on over to the Rumble. It's rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net. And we're going to stick around for a bonus hour. Again, JV, CNA, uncensored. Head on over to the Rumble, rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net. Deuces.